everyone, this is Manny Hishma with the LARP.com crew, and today I am interviewing Deanna Mordente-Rossi. Did I say it correct?
You got my first name right.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Mordente-Rossi.
Mordente-Rossi. Okay, perfect.
No
So thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. The LARP.com crew is conducting this interview in order to get the true story of LARPers.
Yes, I'm very happy you guys decided to pick me.
Well, we're very happy that you decided to join.
Were very willing to do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw lots of people on the Facebook page. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, sure, I'll happily tell you my story.
I think it's really a cool idea that you get to hear, LARPers' perspectives, because not everybody knows what LARP is. So if you're a first-time LARPer, getting to just sit down and watch these interviews, you kind of get a feeling of, what LARP is and what a LARPer actually does, and you just take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have any initial thoughts about what LARP meant before attending your first event?
Well, I've been doing games that might qualify going to either parlor LARPs or boffer organizations since I was about 16 years old. So it's a little difficult for me to say that I had any preconceptions because I also started SCA when I was like 14. So that got me into boffer because you train boffer before you go into rattan. Which is the heavy combat the SCA does. So I started really young.
Wow, yeah.
And considering I'm almost 35, that's about 20 years.
Well, you definitely look younger than 35. I can't tell.
No. Everybody says that. No one believes my age. It's an interesting thing. It makes it great for when we have new players come to the game that I'm at because I usually notice them right off the bat, and I go and introduce myself when people get dropped off by their parents when they're 18. And I introduce myself, and I talk to them, and, it helps that I look a little younger, but I speak with the authority of somebody who knows what's going on.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that SCA got you into LARPing and into your first event. So what was your first event?
Oh, God. I started going to a boffer organization because some of the people that I trained with locally for boffer level combat for my introduction into SCA combat were a part of it. So I started, my dog decided to join. I started doing that and then got into the roleplay aspects of it. So some of my, I've been to big events in the city. I was at the filming that they did for Recreation Nation that was about LARP and boffer. That was one of my biggest early events because I'd never had 600 people in the field before in a boffer combat, and it was really interesting to see just the diversity of people coming from all around to that event. So, because I'd only done local. I'm in Eastern Long Island. That's where I play mostly. And they run parlor LARPs in New York City for years. And it's a wide way to get into gaming. But since I already did tabletop, it wasn't that big of a transition once I already had the combat skills.
Right. So, boffer is definitely a fun way to get into LARP. I know that was my first introduction into LARPing was boffer LARPing. So you mentioned Recreation Nation. Could you explain that a little bit to those who don't know what that is?
Oh, that was a TV show that they had on the Discovery Channel actually for about 2 seasons. And one of the episodes, they went to one of the really big Dagger Here events in Western Pennsylvania, and did an entire thing on LARP to explain what it was and the boffer combat. And they filmed, and everybody had to sign off on waivers. So I actually was able to show my family what I was doing when I go out of the state to go to these big events by going, no, it's going to be on TV. And you're going to be able to see me do it.
That's really cool. I myself have
Yeah.
never heard of that before, and now it makes me want to go like find it and watch it because I think that'd be really interesting.
Like $2 on iTunes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the second half of one episode. You can buy just that one episode and see like a couple of mass combats and bits for people all around, like Pennsylvania, New York, like all around that area, just going out and doing like a mass combat, and the guy tries to explain it, but he clearly had like pre-planned interviews with certain people because he tried to go, oh, I'm going to talk to, like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of girls here, but the group that I went with, we were 75% women. And I don't think they knew that when they were setting up their interviews. But yeah, it was a while ago now, but it was interesting to actually be able to be like, no, I've been on the Discovery Channel for my hobby.
Well, I'm definitely gonna go try to look for it because I'm very very excited about watching it because I love the Discovery Channel and of course I love everything LARP, so that is something that has definitely caught my ear. So look for me to look for you, okay?
Oh, sure. I will. If you want, I'll even find it because I obviously bought the one episode.
Right.
So I have the name of it in my iTunes. I'll PM it to you.
You're famous. So, is there anything that you wish you knew or would have been better prepared for before Recreation Nation?
For that, at that point, I mostly, because it was especially during the really, really hot part of summer, I didn't have any armor yet. That's the point where, because these other groups used a lot more armor, it got me into doing chainmail crafting so I could make my own armor.
That's cool.
So,
yeah. I've never ever met anybody yet who makes their own chainmail. It's probably a very like lengthy process. How long do you think it would take to make an actual chainmail piece?
It really depends on what you want. Because the aluminum chain that I'll do for super light, if somebody has like back issues or they just want something that's like less than 3 pounds to wear during an entire game. Literally, I can make a shirt that's less than 3 pounds out of aluminum. And that can take me as little as a week if I have all the measurements and everything and able to just purchase all my materials all at once. But steel or micro chain can take me as much as like 2-3 months, depending on the person and how big, and if they want sleeves and all kinds of other things. So I know I sent you guys a picture of one of the chainmail pieces that I have done before, but jewelry is what I really usually specialize in. That's how I started. So.
And do you sell any of these items to other LARPers?
Yes. I have commissions going this winter right now for 2 of the players in my game, my local game. I sell them right off of either my Etsy page or people can directly PM me to see, because I usually will cut a little bit of a break because then I'm not paying the commission fee that Etsy charges. Right. Because they take a percentage from everything, so that's not helpful to the purchaser.
So, what kind of LARPs do you most often like to attend?
I am a big fan of buffer LARPs, but I also play usually healers or straight warriors. So I want to have combat. I don't do as well in a straight parlor LARP, just because it's just, I need those moments of I've been pre-trained now. Anybody who does buffer LARP and has like steady plot learns to run towards screaming, which I don't know how that's going to respond in real life at some point in my future, but I will, like, out in the middle of the woods in Eastern Long Island, and I hear somebody scream, and I go, oh, somebody's in trouble, and I turn around and start running towards the danger.
Hey, basic instinct, right?
It's instinct, but it's the reverse of what most people have, because it's just, I know no matter what, I'm not really going to get seriously hurt. I might get a couple bruises, I could trip and scrape my knee, but no, the boffer's not really going to hurt me. Like, it's just... And if it does, somebody probably needs to replace some parts of their boffer.
Somebody didn't get their weapons checked.
Oh yeah, somebody slipped something past weapons check, and they're gonna get a talking to later.
So, you told me about the main roles you like to play. Can you tell me what the most eventful LARP that you've attended so far is and why?
The most eventful LARP? You mean in terms of like me being able to do stuff, or like biggest event?
A little bit of both. So I would say maybe the one that had the most action and that was most accessible for players of all types?
Well, my local LARP is pretty accessible. We're very open to new players, but this past year during our Fetish Call, which is our big like Halloween the Undead Come Back event, I got to have a bunch of really cool scenes as my cleric, which is what I'm all done up as today for the interview. My cleric, Gilrain. So I actually, at the very end of the game, I was able to blow an item to literally stand against a death god while everybody else had to fall down dead. And that was probably the most epic moment I think I've ever had in a game.
So tell me a little bit about your local LARP.
Our local LARP is Middlehaven. Middlehaven. So it's Eastern Long Island. We have players that come as far as Connecticut and Pennsylvania. We're a not-for-profit LARP, and I'm the treasurer on the board of directors out here. So I know every single penny of our game goes right back into the game. We accept new players as long as you're at least 18 years of age, because our New York State insurance says you have to be. And so do the camps. We use 4-H camps through some of the university programs. They rent out their camps to us when they're not using them for actual camp in the summer. So we usually take a small summer break. We do 6 games a year, 3 days per event for most of them. And a couple of small, what we call tavern events, which is usually like somebody's house or a park. And we do a small little like couple of hour thing. We're a fantasy setting. So your standard elves, dwarves. We have a race of magical immune creatures called Vortis, cat people, Rakacha, and dog people that are Inuku.
Okay.
So yeah, we have a wide variety and a deep history. This game's been going on for about a decade.
So when is the next event coming up for Middlehaven?
Our event is actually Leap Day weekend is our next event out here.
So end of February.
Yeah, end of February.
Okay.
And obviously we update our website with all of our information on a regular basis. We have a Twitter and an Instagram, so you'll get to see some of our players up on those sites, various ones. I've been tagged in that one myself.
So what is the actual website?
It would be, I think we actually have a .org. I'm going to double check that it's a .org. Because we just updated our website. That's why I'm just like, let me double check what it is. Yep, it is a .org. Middlehavenlarp.org.
All right, guys.
I just updated it, so I just wanted to double check before I mess that up.
Shout out to Middlehaven, guys. Now you piqued my interest because I love me a high fantasy boffer LARP. So.
Yeah. My weapon is actually back there on the wall. That is my hammer. It is about it's about 3 feet in length.
Oh wow! How much do you think it weighs?
Oh, like it's completely, I don't know, maybe 2 pounds.
2 pounds. Okay.
Yeah, it's the entire head is foam, carbon core, so it's super light.
So easy to swing, portable.
Oh yeah, 100%. I carry it everywhere, all game.
So, can you tell me how you think LARP has positively affected your daily life?
I think it actually made me better at dealing with situations where the unexpected happens, because you can, especially since my day job is actually working in accounting, I do taxes, so I people will ask the most insane questions, and you have to respond by going, and then having the mental capacity to think and then reword something where you're going, I have no idea what's happening right now. And so improv skills, definitely when it comes to socialization with people and dealing with people in my everyday life, because I used to be very, very closed off and wouldn't be very good at talking to anybody, especially if you ask my parents.
So I can attest to that. I think that LARP has actually helped me a little bit to, branch out and be a little bit more open-minded about things. I think that LARP is a wonderful tool for people, especially if you're thinking about getting into it. It can just open so many doors, and I think we're all very lucky that we get to participate in something like this.
Yeah, my social group more than tripled in size within my first event at my current game. I had 40 new friend requests after my first event. So that says a lot about how open the community really is to accepting new people.
Right. So from your first event until now, how do you think your view of LARP has changed over time?
I definitely think our technology has gotten a lot better at helping us manage games, set them up, find new players. Because from, the time I was 16 years old to now, almost 20 years of being involved in LARP or LARP associated organizations, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And you used to have to hear about it from word of mouth. So if you didn't know anybody going to that event or that, was a part of that, you wouldn't get involved. And we probably missed out on some really fantastic role players and some fantastic fighters that just were naturally skilled but just didn't have anybody to play with over the years.
So, are there any upcoming events that you're looking forward to going to?
So I really wish I could go to a friend of mine is actually the person running the Stormwrecked event that's going to be happening next year in well, actually it'll be this year by the time this goes up, in North Carolina. I wish I could go, but I have a wedding to go to that weekend for a couple that is from my LARP, and is best friends with my fiance. So have to be there.
Right.
But I'm hoping to go to the 2021 Malster Mansion event.
Yes.
Yes.
The last one was amazing.
Yes. Alex was willing to vouch for me. So
yeah, Alex is awesome.
Fantastic. I've known her since I met her because of a convention that we both worked for together in Pittsburgh. So it's amazing how you meet people and then the similar interests that just draw you back together.
Yeah, so for those of us who don't know what Maelstrom Mansion is, so it's an event by Flamma Mysteries, and let me tell you that Flamma Mysteries always puts out amazing events, so if you haven't been to one, I do highly suggest it.
Yeah, I know they still have tickets out for the Stormwrecked event, which is the pirate event that's going on, and I think Flamma Mysteries is also putting that one out.
Yes, and I'm going to that as well.
Yes, but unfortunately it's Halloween, and I just can't.
So
pre-booked.
Yeah, the year is pretty stacked for me as well too. Now My last question I have for you, and it definitely is my favorite question. I can tell you're a very creative person, so I'm very eager to hear your answer. If you could choose the next greatest up and coming LARP idea, what would it be and why?
Oh, an upcoming LARP idea? Well, I'm really excited actually because I am a big White Wolf player from years and years and years. Um, they're putting out rules to play Scion as a LARP, which is playing as the children of a god.
Wow.
So that's super exciting for me because I've played Scion since the books came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so that's I know they're working on them. I'm waiting for them to release them so that I can actually look through, because that sounds really, really fun to me.
So definitely a great game. Also a great idea. Um,
Yeah.
now, I'm eager to hear about some of the pictures that you sent us regarding some of the things you've crafted. If you could explain a little bit about those.
Sure. I'm actually just going to use my phone to prop up next to my computer so that I can go down the pictures that I sent you. Because I did mention before the chainmail, but the first picture that I had sent you as an example was actually just a brightly lit crystal. That is the top of a 3.5-foot tall pillar that is in our current game was used as a nexus of power. So I did a whole lot of hot glue, learned how to do some minor electrical wiring to be able to make this. And it involved probably a good 30 hours between putting everything together. And it's completely, like, it was completely boffer safe. Like, the entire pillar was actually foam on the exterior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So even if somebody ran into it in the dark, there is not a good chance that they would be hurt. Like they would be fine. The pillar might not survive, but they would be fine. The next picture that I sent you was actually, so this was one of the cloaks from Destiny. This was a special commission that I had to wait for the fabric to come in from a specialty shop in the UK, and I made it in less than 48 hours, so one weekend, to send it to a friend from a book club online that I'm a part of. So a Discord specifically for like one author, and I got it there before the convention that they had to wear it to, and they said that they were so impressed and it was completely perfect for what they wanted. And I have never even played the game, but I managed to pull it off in 2 days.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. The next is a mirror that was made out of resin. So that entire center is actually mixed resin with little bits of aluminum foil, actually to make it look like it was breaking. So this is a prop that also was used in our game currently. The next one was a box that it was big. It was a big box. I hand carved and painted all of the runes in there, and they glow in the dark.
So, do these runes mean anything in particular?
Yes, they're actually in the runic language that we use. So it's a basic version of the runes. So like the third word down, if somebody was to end up zooming in on it, is actually time. I would have to check my check my translation guide, but I know it's supposed to be like a box that actually puts things out of time and space.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and so I made that entire prop for the game. You have a picture of one of the cloaks that I make and I sell on Etsy that are brushed wool. So they're actually they keep the rain off like super well. Like you do not end up damp underneath it at all without any like spray coating. And that's my fiance actually that's in that photo. So I made sure that it was somebody who wouldn't mind me using. And the last photo was is some of my chainmail work. So that's a shirt that was a special commission for one of our players. It's aluminum, and the sides actually have rubber rings inside of it, so it can expand a little bit if it needs to when somebody needs to put some extra layers on. But it's really quiet because of the aluminum. It's great for rogues using the rubber rings in there. So if a rogue needs some help, I know how to help you out to make sure you're still covered, but no one will hear you coming.
Well, all these pictures that I'm seeing and all these things that you've made are definitely amazing, high quality work. So I definitely commend you for it, guys. If if you're okay with it, Deanna, if anybody, if are you do sell these things, so you do. If you want to sell them, people can PM you, correct?
People can PM me directly to ask me about pricing, questions. I just started painting shields, so the one you can see in the background is actually my gift to my fiance for Christmas. I can send you a closer up thing because I hand painted that on an EVA shield. I just started doing that too because I used to paint miniatures, so I figured it wasn't that big of an extrapolation to go to something large.
Right.
And we have other prop makers in our game that, like, the necklace I'm wearing here, and then our holy symbols in our game. These are actually wood-burned, wood-cut with a laser. So one of those nice shiny glow forges that people can get for a ridiculous amount of money, and then resin inset. This one glows in the dark. So we have a couple of people that do that too. So if anybody's interested in getting specialty done, like, I need a holy symbol, I can point them in the right direction for our person that does that for our games, because she's amazing. She's absolutely fantastic. And she will make whatever you want.
That's really cool. I'm very excited that I got to see a lot of these pictures and that I got to get some of your story. I really thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I look forward to LARPing with you, hopefully in the future.
Yes, hopefully in the future. Maybe we'll end up at a game together sometime soon.
Guys, well, thank you, Deanna. Also, guys, check us out on LARP.com if you haven't done so already. We're full of amazing info about events and everything LARP. So once again, thank you, Deanna. You have a wonderful night, okay?
You too. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.